Okay.
Hi guys, here we are at St Mary's Chapel in Bulverhythe. Now the reason we're here is I'm going to do a monologue about the infamous Hawkhurst gang, which I wrote several years ago. Obviously we can't be in Hawkhurst because of lockdown. So I'm in my local area in Bulverhythe. And the Bull Inn's just over there, towards us, to the south there. And that's an old pub, very old pub, which has got connections with smuggling for many years in the 1700s, and it's reputed to have tunnels leading down to the beach and over towards this chapel here, you know. So a bit of imagination, and you could imagine yourself back in the 1700s and Arthur Gray's in here doing a bit of a deal with the parson with a bit of brandy and a bit of baccy for the clerk, you know. So that's the significance as to why we're here. The monologue's called the Hempen. It's a true story. It's about the Hawkhurst gang and another gang, the Chichester gang. And this story led to the demise of both of those two gangs. And I call it the Hempen. And let's hope it goes something like this. The Hawkhurst gang have lost some rum, brandy and their tea. It's down in Poole at Customs House, and it's under lock and key. They've mounted up and are on the move to meet another gang. And then it's down to Poole, to Customs House, to get that contraband. Over 30 men now riding west, with pillage on their mind. And near to Poole, 2 spotters ride out, but they're shocked at what they find. The King's sloop's moored near to Customs House, within the throw of a stone. The Hawkhurst gang, who lacked in fear, said we'll do it on our own. But soon the tide went out, and the sloop went out of view. So they all rowed together to do what they came to do. They smashed down the doors with their axes and bars, shouting and cursing. They tied up the guards. They took all of the tea, leaving the brandy and rum, and made good their escape without firing a gun. They rested in Fordingbridge, all drunk and so proud, and a smuggler named Diamond saw a face in a crowd. A cobbler called Chater was who he did see, and shaking his hand, he gave him some tea. A fatal mistake made without common sense, for Chater may later turn king's evidence. A reward was offered, information received, and now Chater, the cobbler, had been deceived. He was requested to Marden in front of a judge, and now every smuggler would bear him a grudge. A fellow named Galley was appointed escort, a customs official who couldn't be bought. They started their journey in good health and good faith, but later, with Cater for the smuggler's wraith. 5 miles from East Marden, they stopped for some rum, but the landlady there sent for the smugglers to come. Her suspicions aroused as to what was their quest, and informers of smugglers was what she had guessed. They were plied full of drink and then put to their beds. Their pockets were searched. Her letter was read. Her suspicions confirmed. Their nightmare began. They were now at the mercy of the Chichester gang. They were woken with spurs as they stamped on their heads. They were beaten and whipped and dragged from their beds, tied to their horses, and then whipped again as the lives from their bodies began to drain. They hadn't got far, their bodies still raw, when a smuggler named Jackson, he shouted for more. They were punched and whipped and stabbed with a knife. They fell from their horses. They were losing their lives. Galley died first, and maybe buried alive. It was 3 days later before Chater he died. He was held by his feet and dropped down a well, and then rocks thrown upon him as they damned him to hell. A reward and pardon was offered this time, and 2 anonymous letters told of the crime. A smuggler named Steele was first to turn kings, and then another named Race, he started to sing. It didn't take long. They had 7 of the gang, and one winter's morning, 6 would hang. Jackson got lucky. He died in the night. The thought of the news may have given him a fright. Carter, Cobby, Mills and Son, Tatner and Hammond, all hung. 3 in a hole and 4 on the gibbet. The Chichester gang were now on exhibit. Within a few months, a smuggler named Pring betrayed his own gang to avoid the swing, setting 3 of them up in a well-laid trap. Now they were assured a hempen cravat. Fairhall, Kingsmill, Perrin and Kemp, Bartlett and Brown wore the tie of hemp. Fuller, Potter, DeProse and Priggs. And now the Hawkhurst gang did the hempen jig. Diddly diddly diddly.